us today. We've got Nurse Brittany here as well. Kitty, of course, the phone rang the first time it's rung for a little while. Rings right at 3 o'clock when we're going to do our Facebook Live. So anyway, we'll let a few people join us and then we're going to get started. We've printed off the questions that we've had sent in to us, and we're going to do our best to answer them for you. So the first question that we had came in from Mariska, and it was about keeping your dog relaxed during thunderstorms. She said it can be really tricky, and she would like to know a few different ways other than using a thunder shirt to help keep your pet relaxed during a thunderstorm. So for those of you who don't know what a thunder shirt is, a thunder shirt is a really tight fitting dog jumper basically, that helps them to feel more comfortable. Some dogs respond really well to thunder shirts and they relax. They're kind of like the weighted blankets for people, and they'll just curl up and go to sleep. Other dogs, it doesn't seem to do anything to help them with their storm phobia. Now, Brittany, I'm going to put you on the spot. There are two of the most common misconceptions around storm phobias. What do you think they are?
So one of them is that you shouldn't like give them attention or food or anything, because it might, say, enrich the behaviour
and reward the behaviour. Yeah. That's a really common one that I hear in the consult room a lot, is that we don't want to reward the behaviour by giving them treats and stuff when they're having a panic attack in the middle of a storm. So the matter of the fact is they can't actually learn bad habits when they're freaking out during a storm. So you can give them treats, you can give them comfort, however you need to try and help your pet relax, that's fine. So I would say do not be afraid to cuddle your pet if he's freaking out during a storm. So that is one of the most common misconceptions. What's the second most common misconception, Kitty, around storm phobia?
What did you say the first one was?
Is it that you shouldn't give them treats when they're stressed in a storm?
That you shouldn't cuddle them?
Yeah, so, and
it
does grow out.
Yeah, you can't, they're not going to grow out of their anxiety, they'll actually grow into it, so it will get worse, not better if you ignore it.
Absolutely.
Manage it.
Absolutely. So that's a really common one as well, is that a lot of people will think, okay, just as my dog gets older, they're going to grow out of it. It's something that will get better over time. But unfortunately, a lot of the time with anxiety, if it goes left unchecked, it actually gets worse over time, not better. So, and I think anyone who's had a dog that is storm phobic or scared of something will notice that pattern is that each time a storm happens, unless we're really proactive about reducing their anxiety, that behaviour gets worse and worse over time. So what can we do about this? Well, there's lots of different things we can do. If your dog is crate trained, creating this nice, quiet, dark little soundproof den for them is really important at helping them to feel safe and comfortable, so that a lot of the time you notice if your dog is scared of a storm, they will go and hide, try and hide somewhere. So giving them somewhere that is safe that they can hide. Using pheromones like Adaptil. So Adaptil is a dog appeasing pheromone, and it helps dogs to feel a little bit more relaxed and a bit safer. So you can spray the crate with the Adaptil prior to the storm coming. You can also put a little Adaptil bandana on them, which is what we do when pets come into the clinic here. Or you can get an Adaptil collar that your dog wears all the time to help them feel a bit more relaxed and constantly having that pheromone. Diffusers, you can get Adaptil diffusers as well. The next thing that I would do would be, it kind of goes back to when they're a puppy, and if you can. So if you've got a puppy at the moment, one of the things that you can do is, if there are like the starts of a storm or loud noises happening, it should rain treats as well as rain, okay? So you want to be changing their emotional response to the storm. So let it rain. So by providing them with lots of high value treats when it's storming, they start to associate a loud thunderstorm with something really good happening. If your dog's too stressed to eat treats, that's a sign that they're really, really quite anxious. And a lot of dogs with storm phobias do have a full-blown panic attack. And I don't know if you yourself have ever had a panic attack, but when you're having a panic attack, you cannot think straight. Doesn't matter how many times people say to you, calm down, it'll be fine, you cannot calm down. So there are some dogs as well that some of the more natural supplements like your Adaptil or your Zilkine aren't enough, and you actually need to get them medicated to help them learn that the storm is okay. And we certainly have, unfortunately, seen pets where they will get so panicked by the storm that they will injure themselves. So I hope that answers some of your questions, Mariska, around, what can you do to help with the storm phobia? There are even some CDs that you can get that you can play with storm sounds on it that start really low, and then you can turn it up and up if your pet's coping well with it at lower levels. So you can then start some of that counter conditioning training. But yeah, if you need some more help, let us know. We're more than happy to help out. The second question was from Cheryl. She was asking around what are some good supplements for older dogs that have stiff joints. And I know Cheryl's probably thinking of Mr. Benji. So give him a treat from us. So there's a few different ones. I guess I've been doing lots of talking. Does someone else want to do some talking?
Okay, I was going to say we have a product called Antinol Rapid that we like to recommend for our patients that have joint and mobility issues. So with Antinol, it's there's no contraindications that they know of, so you can use it with other things that you're feeding or giving to help with the joint and mobility, or with anything really, as well as that it's natural anti-inflammatory, which is really good. It's got no nasties in it. It's a green-lipped muscle supplement, and we like to recommend that.
Yeah, so that's probably our favourite go-to supplement for senior pets, because it's that omega-3 and 6 that's in fish oil, but it's really concentrated version of it. So they've done safety studies that show that it is safe to use in older pets, that it doesn't affect their liver enzymes over time, and that it's fine to have at the same time as a lot of the anti-inflammatories our senior pets are on. That was right in the mouth. Really? I'm glad I worked you. So that's that one. There are other supplements that we can use as well. Glucosamine and chondroitin makes up the building blocks of cartilage. So in the earlier stages of arthritis, we can use glucosamine and chondroitin. There are some diets as well that will have those supplements already in them, or not the Antinol, but like we'll have fish oil and glucosamine and chondroitin in them. What are the two most common ones, Britt?
Royal Canin Mobility.
Yeah.
And Hill's
Diet. Hill's Joint Diet, or JD. So they're really common ones. Other supplements that some people will use, I've had some clients that have used hemp oil with their pets. I suppose there's more research going into cannabinoids. I can't even say that one. Cannabinoid. It's a tough one. Cannabinoids? Yeah. Anyway, there's more research going into that, and it's showing that it can be promising in some pets. So some animals are on hemp oil supplements. Obviously, we can't have cannabis oil here. It's not legal yet, but that's something that's happening more and more in the States. The other thing would be turmeric. There are quite a few supplements that have turmeric in them as well. So any of those kind of supplements are quite good for the joints. A lot of them are natural anti-inflammatories. And then obviously we have other options as well. I use acupuncture to help with arthritis, and then we've got Cinnabon injections, and we have a whole range of anti-inflammatories and pain relief options that we can use if we need to, and like almost having a bit of a massage now. Yeah, it's another good physical therapy, a bit of massage on the dog.
Yeah, as you can see, they love it. I think keeping your older pets warm during the cooler months as well is really important.
Yeah,
helping them to feel a little bit less discomfort.
Absolutely. Yeah. So having them on a nice warm bed in the evening, not having them sleep on the cold concrete. And the other thing that is good is trying to keep their weight under control. any extra weight they're carrying puts extra pressure on their joints. So that would be the other thing, looking at making sure they're as lean as they can be. So I think that about does the arthritis.
Yep.
And then the next question was from Sarah, asking about recommendations for a senior cat who has fast-growing claws and doesn't like them being trimmed. My favourite boy, Simba. So Simba's 21, and you will have seen him on some of our Facebook or Instagram posts. Simba's the best. We just love him so much. He's 21 and a half. Who am I kidding? So he really doesn't like his nails being trimmed. It's hard when they get older and they get a bit arthritic in their claws. They're not doing the normal scratching behaviours to wear their nails down, and they don't sheath their nails properly. So then I guess bribery and corruption is my go-to. Lots of treats.
Anything goes.
Anything goes.
We'll just get someone else to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Get someone else to do it. So I'm thinking next time, Sarah, we get Kitty or we get Brittany to hold him, so you don't need any more antibiotics.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a great idea. I was like, we can't have that happening again. Not again. No. And then the next question we got was from Sue, and it was about Shadow, who is a cheeky monster, and he's a 9-month-old puppy, and he's got 2 dog friends that he plays with all day, but despite the fact he's playing with them all day, he still keeps digging up the yard. And they've tried lots of things to stop him doing his own gardening, but nothing's working. So I guess digging to an extent is a normal behaviour. So anytime we have a dog that's doing that kind of behaviour, like a normal behaviour, but doing it in excess or in a way that we don't want, we need to try and shape it back to something that we find is more acceptable. So that's often where with digging, I would consider getting something like a kid's seashell pool that you can fill up with sand or dirt. And give them an area that they're allowed to dig in and bury toys in there and stuff, and encourage them to keep going back to that area. As well as that, I think I would say that, like, if you do have that, if there is like a hot spot in your yard, to put the pit over the top of it and then just slowly move it away from that, like that area of front digging. Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. It's gradually changing that over time. Does your little puppy, because Brittany's got a new puppy. Yeah, he's adorable. Has he been doing any digging?
Yeah, he has a few holes in the backyard. He likes to dig and then go and sit in them. So.
Oh.
Have you got
what a white dog?
Yeah. Oh, see, and that's the same issue with Shadow. Is he's a cream-coloured poodle, and it's not fun having them sit in muddy dirt puddles in the backyard and then come inside.
Yeah.
Have you found anything that works?
We're gonna try the sand pit.
Yeah.
He's not like excessive. I think it's just normal puppy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try the sand pit and then see how that goes.
Yeah, awesome. I guess the other thing would be redirection is quite good. I use redirection with Charlie because Charlie likes to mouth. So he doesn't bite me, but he just likes to, it's like a security blanket. He puts my hand in his mouth and just like casually walks around with my hand in his mouth. And I'm not okay with that. So I redirect him and I tell him to get a toy and to go grab a toy and then casually have the toy in his mouth instead of my hand in his mouth. So redirection, when you're noticing that they're going to go do that digging behaviour, trying to redirect them to something else before they get there. And if it is really being done to too much of excess, then sometimes that can be a sign of anxiety. So any normal behaviour done well beyond the scope of a normal amount is often a way that dog is trying to make themselves feel better for some reason. We don't always understand what causes dog anxiety. I think, if I had the choice, I would love to be a dog and just chill out at home and all those sorts of things. But there are certain things in their little brain that make them feel worried. And so when they get anxiety and worried, then they will do normal behaviours to excess to try and make themselves feel better. So if all the training methods don't work, then I think we might need to look to see if there is something underlying that's causing it.
Definitely. Yeah, I think so.
Cool.
think we've answered all the questions.
Yeah. Oh no, there's one more question.
What's that?
Amy wanted to know why you haven't replied to her message.
Oh. Look, okay, I'm not the best at replying to messages. She said that on the post that I shared because she worried that if she had posted that on the Rousehill Family Vets post that you shared about us going live, that people would think that it's like the clinic, not the clinic. Yeah. So just to reassure everyone, I just don't ever reply to messages personally. But I still love Amy and my cousin, so. I'll reply later.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. We've had a bit of fun doing this, and if you guys like it, let us know, and we will certainly do more Facebook Lives coming at you from the clinic. But you had some amazing questions today.
Keep an eye out for the newsletter.
Yeah, we're going to make up some of this information into our newsletter as well. So there'll be some new blog posts as well. So awesome.
Oh God.
Thanks Sue. Thanks Sarah. All right. If the dogs let us get past, I'll be able to hang up.